Hello everyone, welcome back to Luke's TV Talk. I'll go over some of the most recent TV episodes I've been watching. And for this video I'll be looking at House of the Dragon episode 7. But just before I start, make sure to like the video if you enjoyed this. And if you're interested in watching any TV, anime or movie reviews, make sure to subscribe to keep up to date with all my future uploads. Okay, so let's get into the plot of episode 7 of House of the Dragon. The dragons are circling around Driftmark with everyone joining for the funeral of Leana. So this was a really cool shot of where it pans down. You see all the dragons flying around and landing. It's a really cool shot because they're all different colours and they're all just hanging around. It's so cool. Everyone has gathered for Lena's funeral at Driftmark, where they're having a traditional at-sea funeral where they have the coffin and they push it off into the sea, and it shows it being like swept off into an area that's full of different coffins from lots of other people that have lived on Driftmark, it seems. During the wake, everyone is eyeing each other up and scheming between each other. So there's a good couple of minutes where everyone's just staring at Alicent, staring at Rhaenyra. You got Viserys staring at Daemon staring at Rhaenyra. They're all just looking at each other very warily because they know they can't trust each other. And especially Alicent, she's very paranoid about everyone around her at this point. It shows that Otto has now been reinstated as the Hand. I don't know why, because Viserys knew he couldn't trust him, so why would he reinstate him? He's not going to have changed, he's still going to be the same person, so he must have had other choices, but who knows. Laenor is out of sorts and quiet, so obviously his sister died, so he's all over the place. And you see him just standing in the ocean, just out of sorts, and you can understand, but everyone's just kind of like, what is he doing? Corlys and Rhaenys discuss their grandchildren, so they understand that obviously Laena's children are their grandchildren, but Rhaenyra's children, those grandchildren, they obviously know. And Rhaenys is basically telling Corlys that they're really not your grandchildren. They're not blood. But he says that he's more worried about the name. The name is what means something in the history books. So they're very back and forth on what really matters. Daemon and Viserys cannot agree for Daemon to return. So Viserys wants Daemon to come home, but Daemon doesn't want to have to rely on Viserys for everything. So he's basically pushing him away because he's like, I don't need your help, I'm fine. Like he did originally when he was in that big fight against the crab feeder. So he's just like, I can do it myself, I don't need your help. So they're growing further apart. While walking on the beach, Rhaenyra and Daemon end up having sex. So obviously Daemon's lost his wife and Rhaenyra's basically in a sham marriage. So they basically are getting closer and closer and they end up getting together on the beach. I don't know why they would do it so out in the open, because anyone could have seen, but yeah, they're obviously getting a lot closer than they have been. Aemond finds Vhagar after tracking her down, and after a quick sort of chat, she allows Aemond to ride her through the skies, making Vhagar his. So this was a really cool moment where he's just tracking like the footsteps of the noise, and Vhagar keeps looking at him like, don't you dare, and Aemond kind of like puts his hand out to try and like make peace, and Vhagar kind of accepts him, and they kind of fly off into the sky and they become partners. And it was a really cool scene because Aemond was definitely, he wanted to have a dragon and he went out and took what he wanted. Daemon's daughters don't accept this, and with the assistance of Rhaenyra's sons, they confront Daemon. After a fight, Aemond ends up having one of his eyes slashed by Rhaenyra's son, so they end up all fighting, and Aemond's got a bit cocky because obviously he's got the biggest dragon in the world now. The other four kids don't accept that, and they end up fighting. Aemond grabs a rock, I think it's Jacaerys, picks up a knife, and he just gets out of control, and then Aemond loses an eye. The arguing commences between everyone, and things end up heating up, with Alicent trying to cut Rhaenyra's son's eye out, but hitting Rhaenyra instead. So it is absolute chaos, everyone's arguing. Alicent basically wants an eye for an eye, even tries to send Criston Cole to get the eye, and the king is just not having any of this. Like, everyone's talking behind each other's backs, and he's just like, be family. And then Alicent, because she can't get anything done, grabs the knife out of Viserys' pocket and goes to attack the kid, and everyone's just like, whoa, and Rhaenyra's like, everyone sees you now, and ends up hitting Rhaenyra, who gets a big cut along her arm. Viserys says if anyone mentions Rhaenyra's sons being bastards again, they will have their tongues cut out. So at this point, everyone knows that Rhaenyra's sons are bastards, and Viserys is basically in denial at this point. He doesn't want to accept the fact that this chaos is caused by these little kids, and he just wants everything to be peaceful and quiet, and basically puts his head in the sand more than anything. Otto helps Alicent plan for the future. Otto is even surprised that Alicent stood up and got that angry because he didn't think she could. But now that she's looking towards the future and trying to plan for a future with Aegon as king, he wants to help her secure that place. Rhaenyra gets her cut sewn up, and Laenor promises to stay by her side. So he's been very conflicted about everything, but now he's secured his position, like he wants to stay and help. Alicent and Larys discuss the future, and Alicent knows things are ramping up and she will need him. So before, he was a bit off-putting, but even with this instance of him saying, oh, I could get the eye if I wanted to, she's like, no, I'm going to stay calm and plan out. And she knows that she's going to need him in the future for any scheming she's going to do. Rhaenyra knows things are dire and speaks with Daemon about them getting married to secure her position. But to allow this, Laenor has to die. Daemon hires Laenor's lover to seemingly set up Laenor's death. He and Laenor fight, and seemingly his body is found in the fireplace. It's not actually his. You see in an instance before that Daemon actually kills some random other person, and it looks like they put him in the fire to disguise as Laenor. Daemon and Rhaenyra get married in secret, apart from all the other family, so it's just those two and all the kids. It looks like they're in Pentos because the priests don't look like regular Westerosian churchgoers or whatever they are. And then it's revealed they fake Laenor's death and him and his lover escape to Pentos to live out their days. So I was surprised. I thought they were actually going to kill him, but they didn't in the end. So it was nice to see him get his own start. He can do what he wants now. And that allows Daemon and Rhaenyra to set up their own future. So this was a great episode. It was lots and lots of like scheming and the Game of Thrones in full swing. People eyeing each other up and talking behind each other's backs. To start with some of the good points, I loved the shot of all the dragons at Driftmark. Like I said, it was really cool to see all the different ones. The tension at the funeral was sky high. Everyone was eyeing each other up. They didn't trust anyone at all. I have no idea how Viserys could make Otto the Hand again. I don't know why he trusts him. Like I said before, he's the complete same person. Why would he trust him? Basically, everyone knows Rhaenyra's sons are bastards, and basically just Viserys is in denial, and Rhaenyra is basically playing on that fact to get her way. I love Vhagar's design still. I still think Vhagar is one of the coolest looking dragons out of all of them, and the visuals for Aemon riding Vhagar through the night sky was so cool to see, especially through the moonlight. I love that. Aemon losing his eye was so gruesome. I thought, especially after they were sewing it up, it looked really puffy, and it looked really nasty, but it was so cool. Alicent is so angry now, and she's just untrusting of everyone. She even thought one of Rhaenyra's kids took the knife to kill Aemon, which obviously he didn't. But that's how paranoid she is. She doesn't trust a single person, even children. Viserys has just had enough. He's sticking his head in the sand and just wants to get on with it. And I think the next episode we might lose him, and that's when it's all going to get crazy. Things between Rhaenyra and Daemon are moving quickly, obviously, so they met up at the funeral, they had sex on the beach, and now they're married. So a lot happened in the space of one episode. Laenor's fake out death was a surprise, because I've even heard from people that have read the books that he does actually die. And I thought, oh, they're just going to kill him off. But no, they actually switch it around where he fakes his death and escapes it to Pentos, or Essos, or whatever. But I'm surprised about that. The only one downside about this episode is that the episode was needlessly dark. I get it, a lot happens at night, but still, so much of this episode was in like pitch black darkness, and I had to turn all my lights off because I couldn't see anything at some points, and I had to squint like, what is going on half the time. But I think that's just a thing in media where a lot of film or TV happens at night and you can't see a thing, so that's just an overall criticism of nighttime scenes. But yeah, I had a great time with this episode. This was peak House of Dragons, Game of Thrones, squabbling between families and people distrusting of each other. But yeah, I loved it overall. But yeah, if you like this episode, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to keep up to date with all future uploads. And until next time, I will see you all later.